What would you do if you knew there was a key inside you that could erase fear for good? What if you realized that what scares you most is just a shadow your mind created, and that you've been the one holding the lantern all along? Fear quietly hides behind every decision you put off, every dream left undone, every path you're too afraid to take. It's the fog that blurs the truth, the voice that whispers, "You can't, you're not enough. What if you fail?" But where does fear really come from? Is it a warning meant to protect you, a trick of the ego, or a sacred threshold waiting to be crossed? Today, we're going to dive deep into the spiritual side of fear. This isn't about trying to force fear away or just pretending everything's fine with empty positivity. It's about understanding where fear comes from, what role it plays in your soul's journey, and how you can turn it into a source of strength. Throughout history, wise teachers have said, fear is like a dragon guarding a treasure, and that treasure, friend, is you. Your inner light, your true self, your endless power to shape your reality. But to claim that treasure, you have to face the dragon, not with violence, but with awareness. In this video, we'll explore what fear really is from an energetic and spiritual perspective, why it often blocks us today, and how it's been used to control people. We'll look at ancient wisdom that shows how to rise above fear, share powerful practices to break free from its hold on your mind and energy, and show how stepping beyond fear brings you into alignment with your inner strength. Yes, you can be unstoppable, not because you'll never feel fear, but because you'll learn to walk alongside it, to accept it, and to transform its shadow into clarity. Fear doesn't disappear when you fight it. It dissolves when you truly understand it. You're about to cross a doorway, not a physical one, but an inner gateway to your deepest power, and all you need is the courage to look inside. Are you ready to awaken the warrior of light sleeping within? Fear isn't new. It didn't start with you or your generation. It's an ancient presence, a shadow walking alongside humanity since the beginning. To really get it and let it go, we have to follow its trail through history and forgotten teachings. Back in the earliest days, fear had a clear job: protection. It was the body's alarm when a predator was near, when fire threatened, or when ice closed in. It was helpful, even sacred, because it kept our ancestors alive. But over time, that alarm changed. When it wasn't needed for survival anymore, fear started reacting to internal threats, often imagined ones: rejection, humiliation, failure, loneliness. So fear shifted from being a survival ally to becoming a silent jailer of the soul. Old spiritual traditions, from the Vedas to Hermeticism, shamanism to Gnosticism, knew fear wasn't just an instinct, but an energetic force lodged in body and mind. They understood that wherever there's fear, there's an energetic barrier between us and our inner divinity. Vedic texts call this Maya, or illusion, the false belief that we're separate from everything. The Gnostics saw fear as a veil, keeping us trapped in limited views. The ego, the false self afraid of dying, feeds fear to stay in control. Shamans see fear as a living thing that can be faced, talked to, and transformed through ritual, vision, and expanded awareness. Even ancient philosophers thought deeply about fear. Epictetus said fear isn't about events themselves, but how we interpret them. Plotinus believed the soul frees itself by lifting its gaze toward the eternal. In Christian mysticism, fear is just the absence of love. John the Apostle put it simply: perfect love drives out fear, because where there is light, darkness disappears. From this view, fear isn't beaten by force or denial. It's transformed through awareness, love, and broader understanding. Fear is a door disguised as a shadow, one that only opens when we stop pushing and start watching. But today, fear has changed. It's not a lion's roar in the jungle anymore. It's anxiety about the future, money worries, fear of judgment, of not fitting in, not standing out, not succeeding. Still, at its core, it's the same primal terror. The fear of losing control, of ceasing to exist, of not being enough. That's why this spiritual reflection matters. Modern fear no longer protects. It limits. If you ignore it, fear quietly becomes your enemy, blocking your purpose, your potential, your peace. Ancient wisdom gives us a map. Fear is an illusion pretending to be reality, a messenger wearing the mask of an enemy. Now, as we bring this truth to light, we're ready to face the heart of the mystery. How do you truly dissolve fear? What happens when you stop obeying it? And what if fear isn't your enemy, but the toughest, wisest teacher you'll ever have? This paradox opens the door to a new way of seeing what's held us back for so long. To break down fear, you can't just reject it. You have to understand where it comes from, what it really is, and what it's trying to teach you about yourself. Fear is a mental pattern fed by emotional energy, an alliance between your mind and nervous system shaped over time. When you feel fear, you're not experiencing real danger or the future, but an internal image of what could happen. In other words, fear is imagination triggered by trauma, and here's the spiritual key. Fear itself isn't real. The experience of fear is. It hides behind logic, caution, and common sense, whispering, "Better not, wait until it's perfect. What if they say no? What if you fail?" But really, fear isn't protecting you, it's keeping you small. From an energetic standpoint, fear vibrates at a low frequency, tied to survival, scarcity, and mistrust. When it stays stuck in your energy field, it blocks the flow of life force, like a dam holding back your vitality from reaching the higher centers, where creativity, vision, and unconditional love live. The most surprising truth is that fear doesn't just disappear once you get what you were afraid you wouldn't. That's because fear isn't out there, it's inside you. You can have success, love, and good health, and still feel fear, because it's not the world that creates fear, but your unconscious way of interpreting the world. This is where spiritual work really matters. The soul didn't come here to avoid fear. It came to rise above it, to go through the process of facing the shadow and, with presence and awareness, turning it back into light. Fear, then, is actually a disguised gateway, and whoever crosses it with courage finds their true power waiting on the other side. So, how do you do this? First, understand that fear is stuck energy, a vibration frozen by some past wound. Rejection, abandonment, humiliation, loss. That unresolved energy keeps replaying itself until it's freed. That's why we often attract what we fear, not as punishment, but as a chance to heal. Second, stop fighting it. What you resist sticks around. What you observe without judgment changes. Fear wants your attention, not your hate. Third, realize that behind every fear is a deep longing from your soul. If you fear public speaking, it's because you want to be heard. If you fear rejection, it's because you long to give and receive love. Every fear points to an unclaimed treasure. Real inner work sees fear as a mirror, a sacred sign of what you're ready to embrace, rather than something to avoid. Your soul guides you through what scares you most, not to punish you, but to reveal the strength you already have but haven't yet recognized. When you start seeing fear this way, something powerful shifts. You stop chasing it or running from it. You feel it, honor it, and open yourself to its lesson. Then a new state emerges, not the absence of fear, but the presence of inner power. Power that doesn't need to prove anything, that neither attacks nor defends, but simply knows itself. Now that we know fear isn't an enemy to be destroyed, but an energy to understand, face, and transform, we need to go deeper and see how it can be turned step by step into real spiritual power. This inner alchemy is what many traditions call the fire of initiation. Ancient alchemists worked not just with metals but with the soul. To them, fear was the raw lead needed to create the gold of awakened consciousness. This powerful metaphor still guides those who choose to see their shadows not as flaws, but as keys to true growth. What does transforming fear look like in practice? First, realize that fear has a body. It lives in your nervous system, shows up as gut feelings, tightness in your chest, the urge to run. So the first step in transforming fear is to fully feel it without becoming it. Most people don't actually feel their fear. They block it, overthink it, or turn it into anger. But the true alchemist stays present inside the emotional fire, as if saying, "Here I am, no running, no fighting, no denying, just observing." In that moment, something amazing happens. Fear begins to dissolve, not because it's defeated, but because it's embraced with presence. That presence starts to reorganize the energy in your body. But that's not all. The next step is to reinterpret fear, because what we call fear often carries deep messages from the soul. For example, if you fear failure, the real question isn't, "How do I avoid it?" but "Why do I need success to feel worthy?" This shows that fear often comes from a false idea about who you are, and that idea can be rewritten. This is where consciousness comes in. You are not your fears. You are the space where fear appears. This awareness is key. When you identify with fear, it keeps its hold. But when you watch it from a higher place, fear loses power because it becomes just a visitor, not the center of your world. Here's an important spiritual tool: conscious breathing. When fear hits, don't breathe on autopilot. Breathe intentionally. Breathe into the place where you feel the tension, thinking, "I am presence." Then breathe out, thinking, "I release this fear." This simple practice resets your body and activates your parasympathetic nervous system, bringing a sense of safety inside. Another key point: fear needs to be expressed, not through drama, but through movement and mindful speech. Many spiritual teachers say that unexpressed emotions get stuck in the soul. That's why singing, dancing, crying, and deep writing are powerful ways to clear energy. Finally, there's vibrational replacement. Once you empty the space fear took up, you can't leave it empty. You need to fill it with something new: faith, gratitude, vision. Visualize it, say it, repeat it with belief. I am safe. I am guided. I am ready to become who I was meant to be. This act isn't just symbolic, it's quantum. The universe responds not to your words, but to your energy. When you start vibrating with certainty instead of doubt, the universe answers with synchronicities, opportunities, and open doors. So fear stops being your jailer. It becomes your guide, your threshold, your initiation. And when you step through, there's no emptiness on the other side, only freedom. And the best part? You don't have to be ready to start. You just need to decide. Decide that you won't obey the shadow anymore, that you'll keep walking even if your legs shake, that you'll love even if it hurts, that you'll speak even if your voice trembles. Because on the other side of fear is the life your soul has always dreamed of. Now that you understand fear as energy, as a teacher, and as a gateway to your inner power, it's time to move from theory to practice. Real spiritual transformation doesn't happen in books or ideas. It happens in real life, in your daily choices, your recurring thoughts, how you respond when fear shows up at your door. Here's a simple but powerful guide to help you start freeing yourself from fear and move confidently toward your inner strength. 1. Name and define your fear. Ignoring fear only feeds it. When you push it into the shadows, it grows. Each day, take a moment to close your eyes, breathe deeply, and honestly ask yourself, what am I afraid of today? Say it out loud or write it down without judging it. Make it visible. Example, I'm afraid of being alone. I fear failing this project. I worry I won't be enough for others. 2. Turn it into a mantra of power. Once you've named your fear, flip it into a positive, high-energy statement. Words carry energy, and what you say with feeling shapes your reality. Example, fear, I'm afraid nobody will listen to me. Mantra, my voice matters. What I share touches hearts and changes lives. Write it, say it, feel it, let it be your shield. 3. Breathe into presence. When fear comes up, remember, you're not just a reaction, you are awareness. Next time anxiety, tension, shaking, or avoidance hit, don't run, stay. Take 10 conscious breaths, sending air to where you feel tightness. Breath formula, inhale, I am safe. Exhale, I release fear. Repeat until you feel your energy shift. This trains you to respond instead of react. 4. Face what you fear symbolically. Fear needs action to dissolve. It won't just fade with ideas. Each week, do something that pushes your comfort zone. Record a video, share a truth, approach someone, accept a challenge. The goal isn't the outcome, but moving forward despite fear. These small steps send a powerful message to the universe and your subconscious that fear no longer controls you. 5. Cleanse your energy field. Daily, fear sticks to your energy like dust on skin. You need daily spiritual cleansing, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Take mindful showers, imagining water washing away your fears. Burn sandalwood, sage, or palo santo. Practice fire meditation. Picture a flame in your solar plexus, burning away doubts. Doing this daily keeps your vibration high and steady when life gets stormy. 6. Build fear-resistant environments. Fear thrives in toxic, negative, or overwhelming spaces. Watch your social circles, media habits, and mental patterns. Ask yourself, does this conversation lift me up or drain me? Does this content empower me or hypnotize me? Am I feeding fear or light? Change what you need to, without guilt, with strength. 7. Thank your fear before letting it go. Finally, honor fear's role. Without it, you wouldn't know yourself so deeply. Acknowledge its original job to protect you, then release it like armor you no longer need. Thank you, fear, for teaching me. Now I choose freedom. In that small but powerful moment, you begin to be reborn. The path to invincibility isn't about having no fear. It's about having courage, awareness, and aligned action. And now you have the tools to start. You've walked a path few dare to take, facing fear not as an enemy, but as a doorway. That shift changes everything. While the world runs from fear, you've chosen to stop, observe, and most importantly, cross through. This isn't a battle between light and dark. It's an alchemical process of integration. Fear is part of being human, yes, but it's not the master of your destiny. It's just an echo of an old story that, thanks to your awareness, can now be rewritten. You've learned fear comes from the illusion of separation, from the false belief that you're alone, not enough, or that the universe isn't on your side. But that illusion fades when you awaken to who you really are, an eternal spark of the whole, a creative force, a powerful soul living in this world. To understand fear is to start mastering it. To feel fear without becoming it is to begin transforming it. To act despite it is to become the alchemist of your reality. Every time you move forward with shaky legs, speak with a trembling voice, or choose trust without guarantees, you become the spiritual warrior you were meant to be. But this journey doesn't end here. It's an art you perfect every day, in every choice you make, every feeling you watch instead of hide, every step toward your soul's truth. And here's the big reveal. Once you stop running from fear, the universe stops placing it in your path. Life isn't here to punish you. It wants to teach you, refine you, help you remember you were made for more, to vibrate higher, serve with purpose, and walk with unshakable trust. Invincible isn't the one who never feels fear. Invincible is the one who decides that love of truth is stronger than fear of loss. And you who've come this far have already crossed a threshold. Now it's time to act, to anchor this wisdom, to share it with others. You're not alone. You're supported by a higher intelligence that responds to your energy. And when you walk in faith, the whole universe conspires in your favor. So from my soul to yours, I invite you, dare, speak, create, love, not from absence of fear, but from the presence of power. If this message spoke to you, subscribe, ring the bell, leave a like, and share this video with those who need to remember their inner strength. Tell us in the comments, what fear are you ready to release today? Because the first step to freedom is naming it. See you on the next journey of consciousness. What if I told you that inside you are powerful forces, deep, ancient, and mysterious, that could completely change how you see the world? These powers don't need capes or disguises. They're not make-believe or fantasy. They're real, hidden potential waiting to be rediscovered beneath the surface of everyday life. For centuries, different civilizations have whispered about these dormant abilities. Shamans, sages, and mystics spoke of spiritual gifts, the hidden strengths of the body, and a lost connection between humans and the universe. But the noise of modern life, our screens, our rush, our fear of the unknown, has drowned out these ancient voices. Still, the signs are all around us. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you, only to turn and catch their gaze? Have you ever sensed the movement of your own hand in complete darkness, or felt a presence around you without a single word spoken? These aren't coincidences, they're signals, small hints of the wisdom already within you, within your body, your energy, and your soul. The human body, like a sacred temple, holds the keys to powers that go beyond ordinary understanding. In this video, we'll explore 7 real superpowers that humans possess, but have forgotten. Some are so subtle they feel like magic, while others are so common we overlook their depth. But all of them are real, and they can be developed. This journey won't be superficial or sensational. We'll dive deep, exploring everything from the mysterious sweat that reveals emotions to the ability to hear underwater, from the ancient skill of sensing illness to the possibility of seeing with your eyes closed. Get ready for an exploration that will expand your mind and maybe remind you of something you've always known but forgotten. True awakening doesn't come from discovering something new. It happens when we remember what's always been within us. Are you ready to look beyond the ordinary? To understand the full power humans have and have forgotten, we need to look back to the very beginning, not through dates but through symbols. Because where history ends, the story of the soul begins. Early civilizations didn't see themselves as just bodies. They saw themselves as microcosms, a small version of the whole universe. This belief was shared by cultures across the world, from Egypt to India, Greece, and the Americas. These cultures believed that the same forces that governed the stars, the tides, and the seasons were also within humans. It's no coincidence that the Temple of Delphi was inscribed with the words, "Know yourself, and you will know the universe and the gods." This wasn't just a poetic saying, it was a profound truth. Humans aren't just observers of reality. We are spiritual beings with inner mechanisms that, when understood, allow us to influence, perceive, and change ourselves and the world around us. In ancient Egypt, the mystery schools taught initiates that the human body is a sacred tool. Through breathing techniques, rhythmic movements, and guided meditations, they sought to awaken hidden abilities that connected them to higher levels of existence. The Ka and Ba, energetic aspects of the soul, were nurtured through practices that science is only now starting to understand through neurobiology and somatic psychology. On the other side of the world, Vedic teachings spoke of siddhis, powers of the soul that naturally emerge as one masters the mind and devotes themselves to spiritual practice. These powers included abilities like clairvoyance, heightened hearing, telepathy, and the ability to influence others' emotions, all seen as normal for a person in tune with their true self. Even the Stoics, who were deeply rational but also spiritual, saw inner perception as more reliable than the senses. Seneca, for example, said, "No wind is favorable for he who does not know to which port he sails," pointing out that true vision comes from inner clarity, not from our eyes. Over time, these teachings faded. The Middle Ages, filled with fear of the unknown, persecuted those who kept this knowledge as heretics. Modern times, focused on what could be measured, discarded anything that couldn't be tested in a lab. What was once seen as sacred wisdom was pushed aside as superstition. But many of the superpowers we'll talk about today have existed for centuries, known by different names and symbols in ancient texts, hidden scrolls, alchemical writings, and oral traditions. The ability to smell illness, hear frequencies underwater, or feel another person's gaze. These aren't new phenomena. They were understood, respected, and cultivated by ancient cultures. Now, thanks to the blend of modern science and ancient wisdom, we're beginning to rediscover these abilities. And the best part, they don't require blind faith, just attention, practice, and a willingness to see beyond the everyday. Human nature hasn't fundamentally changed over thousands of years. What has shifted is our ability to remember who we truly are. And as the ancient Greeks believed, remembering is a sacred act, an act of returning to what the soul already knows. In its purest form, a human being is not a broken entity, but a bridge between the visible and invisible, a blend of flesh, energy, and consciousness, with its true nature hidden beneath layers of habit, distraction, and self-imposed ignorance. Yet, when we tear away that veil, even for just a moment, reality shows us its true form. This is where the revelation of our dormant superpowers begins, and in this section, we'll focus on the first three. First, the power of the gaze, seeing the invisible. Deep within you, in your ancestral mind, lies a radar that doesn't need words or images to work. Have you ever felt it? While working, reading, or just walking, there's this subtle sense that something or someone is watching you. You turn around, and sure enough, someone's eyes are already on you. How did you know? Science has tried to explain this by pointing to the sensitivity of our peripheral vision or small changes in energy around us. But what cannot be denied is that we can sense another's presence even without direct eye contact. Ancient traditions called this a thread of intention, an invisible link between the observer's soul and the observed. Some believed that eyes release psychic energy, and that focused attention acts like a subtle projection. When you look at someone, you don't just see them, you touch their energy field. And when they look at you, you feel it, even if you can't explain why. This sixth sense isn't beyond your abilities. It's simply hidden beneath your distractions. Second, inner vision, seeing with your eyes closed. Try this experiment tonight. Go into a dark room, close your eyes or blindfold yourself completely, then move your hands in front of your face. Even though you can't see them, you somehow know where they are. You sense their movement, shape, and proximity. It's as if your hands leave a glowing trail in the dark. This isn't magic, it's the potential of your inner visual consciousness. In Vedanta, it's taught that the mind has its own eyes, and what we call vision isn't the act of the eyes, but the awareness of the observer using them. Neuroscience shows that the brain activates visual areas even when there's no light entering the eyes. The awareness of movement and our own body, proprioception, are closely linked to sensory memories and neural maps our body builds through experience. And this leads us to a mystical insight. The body remembers what the soul has seen. When you are still and your attention is sharp, that vision comes back like a glowing ember that never fully fades. Third, the alchemical ear, listening to temperature. At first, this might seem like a small skill, but it's actually a subtle wonder. Your ear can detect the temperature of water simply by the sound it makes as it falls. How is that possible? Water molecules vibrate differently depending on the temperature. Cold water falls with a sharper, denser sound, while hot water creates a softer, more diffused sound. Though we're not typically aware of these differences, with training, our ear can pick up these tiny changes. This reveals an important truth. Our senses aren't fixed, they're flexible. What we can hear, see, or feel isn't just limited by biology, but by the consciousness guiding them. When a Zen monk meditates, he hears the sounds around him differently than a tourist in the forest. The difference isn't in the ear, but in the quality of presence. This subtle power reminds us of a basic truth. Matter vibrates, and an awakened person senses that vibration. These three gifts aren't just random biological traits. They're windows to a forgotten way of living, where humans don't separate from the world, but perceive it as if they are the heartbeat of the universe itself. The first part of the veil has been lifted. You've begun to realize that the human body is not just flesh and bone, but a vessel of subtle energies, a living antenna capable of perceiving, transforming, and transmitting much more than the ordinary mind can grasp. Now we move on to the next four powers, where biology becomes alchemy, and the physical reveals its spiritual nature, for there are secrets only the awakened body knows how to keep and reveal. Fourth, emotional sweat, transmitting inner states without words. Have you ever walked into a room full of people and suddenly felt a surge of joy or unease, even though no one spoke or looked at you? There's something in the air that shifts your mood, that something is real. Science has shown that our sweat not only releases toxins, but also carries emotional signals in its chemical compounds. When we're happy, sad, or scared, our bodies emit invisible signals that others can pick up subconsciously. This is called emotional chemical communication, but there's a deeper, more fascinating side to this. In shamanic cultures, it was believed that our body sweats the soul, that our deepest emotions, once released, leave energetic imprints in the environment. This creates a kind of human magnetism. An emotional aura surrounds us like an invisible scent that can heal or harm. Sweat isn't just a byproduct of physical effort. It's a vibrational signature of our inner state. And when that vibration is elevated, it becomes subtle medicine for those around us. Fifth, the spirit's sense of smell, detecting the hidden health of others. Imagine being able to smell illness before it shows up, sensing a person's weakened immune system from a tiny change in their scent. While this may sound like something out of science fiction, this ancient ability is still inside us. Research today shows that when the body is fighting an infection, certain chemical signals in sweat change, and people with a strong sense of smell, especially women, can detect these changes without even realizing it. What modern science is just starting to understand, ancient cultures knew long ago. In many indigenous cultures, healers didn't just look at the body, they smelled it. They called it the scent of the soul, saying it changes when vital energy is off balance. So smell was used as a spiritual diagnostic tool, just like touch or sight. Even though this ability is dormant, it's still within you. All it takes is quieting your mind, sharpening your instincts, and trusting in what can't be easily explained. Sixth, underwater hearing, perceiving frequencies beyond air. Normally, human hearing is limited to certain frequencies, but something interesting happens when we go underwater. Our limitations seem to vanish and we start to hear sounds that even aquatic animals can't pick up. Frequencies up to 200,000 hertz above what we hear in the air. How does this work? In water, sound doesn't travel through air. It goes directly through the bones, using a method called bone conduction. It's not the ear that hears, but the body itself. Underwater, our bodies seem to tap into an ancient way of listening, closer to the soul than just picking up noise. Ancient cultures knew that water not only cleanses but also awakens. Ritual baths, sacred river immersions, and baptisms weren't just symbolic, they were spiritual practices because water restores our sensory connection to deeper layers of perception. In the stillness beneath the surface, the body hears the hidden song of the world. Seventh, the skin that breathes wisdom, healing through scent on the skin. This power brings together the physical and spiritual in a beautiful way. The skin, which separates us from the world, is also how we connect to it. Recent research has discovered that olfactory receptors, the ones responsible for smell, are not just in the nose, they're in the skin too. When certain scents, like sandalwood, come into contact with the skin, they activate the body's healing processes, helping cells regenerate. In ancient times, this wasn't just a curiosity, it was part of spiritual practices. Scents were used in rituals to open energy channels, heal emotional wounds, and speed up physical recovery. Incense, oils, and ointments were tools for creating a more balanced state of being. The skin, sensing these subtle signals, responds with life because it's not just a barrier, it's an organ that connects us to the unseen world. These 4 powers, along with the 3 we discussed earlier, complete the map of 7 hidden gifts. They're not just metaphors or ideas, they're real abilities waiting to be unlocked through awareness, intention, and respect for the mystery we are. Knowing about these powers is just the first step. The real challenge and the true gift is learning how to use them in daily life as part of a mindful practice. Knowledge without action is like a torch burning in a sealed cave. Its light does nothing if it can't escape. So how can we awaken these long-forgotten gifts? The key is not in strange techniques or distant rituals, but in being present, finding inner silence and treating the body as the living temple of the soul. Start by practicing subtle awareness. Most of the time, we live on autopilot. We eat without really tasting, walk without feeling the ground, talk without listening. This disconnect is the biggest barrier to unlocking your inner abilities. Begin by paying attention to yourself in everyday moments. Listen to the sound of falling water. Feel your breath without trying to change it. Look people in the eyes, not just as bodies, but as souls expressing themselves through movement. Practicing subtle awareness is like polishing an ancient mirror. Over time, hidden images begin to appear. Meditation, solitude, and facing your shadow, 3 things many people fear, but they're essential for those who want to reconnect with their power. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's a doorway to the unknown. Solitude isn't being alone, it's reconnecting with your true self. And the shadow isn't evil, it's untapped potential. Set aside time each day for silence, free from distractions. Explore your inner world as you would enter a sacred space. There, your forgotten senses will come alive, and what was once dormant will be awakened. Treat your body as a sacred tool. Your body isn't an accident of evolution or a soulless machine. It's a multi-dimensional antenna designed to sense far more than you might realize. Take care of it, listen to it, and move it with awareness. Practice things that help you become more sensitive, like yoga, conscious breathing, dance, cold or hot water baths, or walking barefoot on the earth. Each of these actions awakens hidden pathways in your body, and most importantly, restores it as the channel for your spirit. Clear your perception channels. It's not just food that nourishes us. It's also the images, sounds, words, and emotions we take in every day. If you're constantly surrounded by noise, negativity, or distractions, your senses become dull, clogged with interference. Start making better choices. Listen to music that uplifts you. Read books that spark your soul, and surround yourself with people who speak from the heart, not from fear. Over time, you'll notice your sensitivity growing sharper. Reconnect with nature. Your superpowers aren't isolated from the universe. They're reflections of the same intelligent force that drives the cycles of the moon, the growth of plants, and the rhythm of the tides. So, connecting with nature isn't just a luxury, it's a spiritual necessity. Walk among trees, swim in the ocean, sit by a fire, not as a tourist, but as someone who understands. You'll come to realize that you too are earth, water, air, and fire, and all your powers are echoes of the natural world speaking through you. You've come to the end of one journey and the start of a much larger one. Today, you've remembered 7 gifts that aren't new, foreign, or borrowed. They've always been yours. Like seeds waiting under the winter earth, they've been waiting for the right conditions to grow. Silence, focus, and turning inward. We live in an age of endless information but deep disconnection. We know more about distant galaxies than we do about our own bodies. We look for answers outside ourselves, in screens, algorithms, and titles, forgetting that true knowledge comes from within. These superpowers, feeling someone's gaze, hearing subtle sounds, sensing health, healing through touch, are glimpses into a larger truth. Humans are channels between worlds, between the physical and the unseen, between the finite and the eternal. You might not be able to fly or move objects with your mind, but you can change your environment with your energy. You can feel before you think. You can perceive the unspoken, the unseen, and the unmeasured. And in a world that's asleep, that's a revolutionary act. The ancient wisdom wasn't about powers to control others, but about gifts to heal, to enlighten, to serve. What awakens in you can awaken in others. When one person remembers, others start to remember too. That's how the collective soul works. You don't need grand rituals or exotic ceremonies. All you need is to listen to your body, to the world around you, and to that quiet voice deep inside that you've ignored for too long. The biggest lesson of all is not that you have superpowers, but that you're not what you've been told you are. You are vast, subtle, wise, and every day you get to choose whether to live as just a cog in the machine or as an awakened being. I challenge you to do something radical. Stop, breathe, close your eyes, and feel your body, your skin, your inner rhythm. That's where the 7 hidden gifts are waiting, gently vibrating, waiting for you to recognize them. This is the moment, this is the place, and you are the bridge. If this journey resonates with you, don't let it just be words. Share it, reflect on it, put it into practice. Let each day be an act of remembering, and let your life become a moving temple. And if you want to continue exploring life's mysteries, the forgotten truths, and the paths of the soul, this channel is your safe space. Subscribe and join me. Let's keep going together into the depths, because in the end, we're not here to learn something new. We're here to remember who we are. What if I told you that everything you think you know about meditation is missing a huge piece? What if accessing other realities isn't just something that happens in your mind, but actually happens in your body, more specifically, not in your whole body, but in one single bone? An ancient, overlooked, and sacred bone that cultures long ago honored deeply without words. And it's probably a part of you don't even notice. This video isn't just some mystical story, it's a revelation. We're about to dive into a practice that's as powerful as it is forgotten. It's not about visualization or imagination or sitting quietly waiting for silence. It's about moving your body in a way that opens portals. Yes, actual portals, because certain movements do more than stretch muscles. They awaken memories. The bone we're talking about was called by ancient peoples the throne of the soul. It's in your spine, but it's unlike the others. It's strong and dense, almost like a sacred stone, and at the same time, it holds a fire that never goes out. The ancients didn't find this in books. They found it through dance, ritual walks, shared silences under the moon, ceremonies where the soul wasn't talked about but deeply felt. In this first part of the video, I'll bring you to the edge of that knowledge. We'll explore the mystery of this bone, how I discovered it, how I felt it come alive inside me, and why I believe this small physical gateway can completely change the way you see the world. Because true spirituality isn't about rising up, it's about coming down. Not about escaping the body, but about fully inhabiting it so that the veil between worlds grows thin. That's what the ancients did. They didn't meditate, they moved this bone and crossed over. You're about to find out which bone it is, why moving it is a hidden key, and how you can start experiencing it yourself. But first, we'll go back to the roots, to caves, to myths, to the bodies of wise ones who danced without thinking and let their bodies guide them beyond what they could see. Get ready. What you're about to hear isn't a new technique, it's an ancient truth, an echo that's always been inside you and is finally waking up. In ancient cultures where wisdom wasn't written down but passed through the body, there was sacred knowledge that faded as reason became the only authority. This knowledge didn't come through words or doctrine, it came through bodily memory, the silent language of bones, gestures, and breath. Among all parts of the human body, one was seen as the most sacred, the sacrum. It's no accident, its name means sacred. Sitting at the base of your spine, at the pelvis, this triangular bone connects you to the earth and the sky. The ancients viewed it as the anchor of vital energy, the spot where consciousness could be awakened, not by thinking, but through movement. Not just any movement, but intentional ritual movement that vibrates. In African traditions, wise elders known as interworld walkers performed spiral dances that shook the base of the spine. They didn't dance just for art, they danced to open inner portals. In those vibrations, energy would rise like an ancient fire, waking up dormant parts of perception. In Mesoamerica, the Nahualism tradition taught that certain repeated devoted movements reactivated an original code in the body. They didn't call it by Western anatomical names, but they knew everything started at the base, from what they called the throne of the spirit. They didn't do yoga poses or sit silently, they moved their axis. Even in Egypt, resurrection rituals weren't only spiritual, they focused on the spine and its base, believing the soul returned through the Jed pillar, a symbol linked to the sacrum and its vertical energy. What had to stay upright wasn't just the body, it was consciousness. Later, medieval alchemists called the sacrum the crucible of the spirit in flesh, saying the serpent of remembrance slept there. Not a demon, but a symbol of primal energy that, when unleashed, brought vision, strength, and a direct link to hidden reality. So if it was so important, why don't we talk about it anymore? Because the knowledge of the body as a temple was suppressed. Because realizing you have a natural way to expand consciousness inside you threatens systems of control. Because if you can reach other realities without anyone in between, without dogma or rules, then you're free. And the sacrum, that forgotten bone, holds that power to free you from within. Moving it isn't just exercise, it's alchemy in motion. This is where spirituality becomes real, where technique turns into ritual, and the body, far from being a cage, reveals itself as the true portal. Imagine your body not just as a biological machine, but as sacred architecture, not a container, but a tool, where every joint, bone, and vibration works like cosmic gears. Now imagine inside that architecture, there's a forgotten command center, a place where you can activate not just life energy, but the ability to cross between the seen and unseen. That place is the sacrum, and moving it with awareness isn't gymnastics, it's a ritual. Hidden wisdom teaches that the sacrum is like a vibrational key. When it's activated, it sends out a frequency that wakes up dormant pathways in your nervous system, lights up brain areas usually offline, and shifts how your consciousness interprets reality. This isn't fantasy, it's expanded perception. Most people live trapped in their heads, thoughts, judgments, ideas. Some get down to the heart, but very few reach the sacrum. Why go down? Because energy doesn't start flowing upward from the mind. It begins at the root. The sacrum is the primal drum. When it moves, it sets the rhythm for an energetic symphony that travels up the spine, through the chakras, and ends at the crown. But here's the secret: if you don't activate the drum, there's no symphony. How do you actually move the sacrum? It's not about shaking it violently or following some strict technique. The movement is circular, flowing, serpentine, like you're tracing invisible spirals in the air with your pelvis. Ancient dances understood this. The hips didn't move just for sensuality. They moved to awaken something deeper. Every pelvic movement sends a pulse straight to the sacrum. And when that pulse is steady, rhythmic, and mindful, the bone starts to vibrate. That vibration isn't like a physical shake. It's much more subtle. You feel it as an expansion from within, a gentle warmth, a sense that something is shifting at the very core of your being. That's when your body begins to remember, not memories or thoughts, but the raw feeling of being alive at the source. And it doesn't stop there. As you keep moving with devotion, not force, you'll start noticing shifts in your breathing, your mental state, and how you experience space. Time slows down, your attention turns into effortless presence, and if you keep at it, something even deeper unfolds. Reality itself begins to open up. People who've practiced this say that after just minutes of conscious sacral movement, they start perceiving things beyond the ordinary. Inner lights that aren't coming from outside, subtle sounds inside their head, a sense of oneness with everything. And in more advanced stages, spontaneous visions, archetypal memories, or brief glimpses into other dimensions of consciousness. It's not about controlling what happens. It's about tuning into a vibrational doorway. The key thing to understand is that you're not creating anything new. You're clearing interference and activating a forgotten function. The sacrum is the sacred drum of the soul, and by consciously moving it, everything inside you starts to dance. Once the sacrum is activated and its vibration spreads, the whole body enters what ancient traditions called the threshold. This isn't a trance or simple relaxation. It's a deep shift in how you perceive reality. In this state, the line between inside and outside, real and symbolic, starts to blur. What opens up isn't just energy, it's a portal And that portal doesn't lead beyond, like many religions say, but to a dimension that's always here, just out of reach of everyday consciousness. Ancient initiates, whether temple priestesses of Isis, Toltec sages, or Druid mystics, knew that waking the sacrum wasn't a game, because what you awaken isn't just energy, it's interdimensional memory. The body remembers things the mind can't grasp, places you've never physically been, knowledge you've never studied, archetypes alive and active. Many describe encounters with beings of light, moving symbols, living geometries, even the feeling of being absorbed by an intelligence bigger than words, teaching simply through presence. And in those moments, something radical happens. Your identity starts to dissolve, not lost, but transformed. Your usual self, your name, your story, your ego, shrinks to a spark beside the sun. And what rises in its place is the eternal observer, pure consciousness. But here's why wisdom matters. Moving the sacrum without preparation and grounding can open more than you're ready for. The portal doesn't discriminate. If you have unhealed wounds, toxic beliefs, or buried trauma, they may come up too, not to punish you, but to face you. That's why the ancients stayed silent. Power needs guidance. So every activation should follow 3 key principles. 1. Emotional grounding. You can't rise if you're not rooted in the earth. Before exploring other realities, make sure your body feels like home, not a battlefield. Sacral movement works best when you're connected to your breath, your heart, and your emotional balance. 2. Clear intention. The sacrum responds to intention. It's not a machine, it's a living altar. Moving it without focus is like lighting a fire in the dark, without knowing what you're after. Define your goal. Clarity, healing, vision, and the portal will respond with the matching vibration. 3. Ritual containment. The wise knew every portal needs a frame. The space where you practice should feel sacred, even if it's simple. Turn off distractions, create a circle of energy with things that matter to you. Stones, symbols, fire, water. This container protects, amplifies, and organizes the energy you activate. This practice isn't just for spiritual seekers. It's for anyone ready to remember that the body isn't the soul's prison, but its gateway. And the sacrum, that quiet, steady bone, is the hinge of that gateway. When moved with awareness, the soul doesn't travel outward. It comes home to its origin, its voice, its inner knowing. And you, who live in that body, start to see with eyes beyond the physical and hear the world beneath the world. Once you realize your body isn't just matter, but a living temple, everything changes. What used to feel automatic, walking, sitting, breathing, takes on new meaning, almost ritualistic, because it's no longer about just surviving, but truly inhabiting yourself, making every movement a tool for awakening. And if you've made it this far, if this knowledge resonates with you like a bell ringing inside, then it's time to do more than just listen. It's time to practice. Sacral movement isn't some secret technique reserved for cave dwellers or monks. It's a tool you can bring into your daily life as long as you approach it with intention, respect, and consistency. Here are 5 practical ways to weave this wisdom into your routine without turning your whole life upside down, but allowing it to shift from within. 1. Create a daily sacred moment. You don't need a full hour. Sometimes just 7 minutes right after waking or before bed will do. Find a quiet spot, stand or sit with a straight spine, close your eyes and bring your attention to your sacrum. Breathe into it, then start gentle, circular, flowing pelvic movements. Don't overthink it, just feel. Make this your daily sanctuary, your appointment with your body and soul. 2. Walk with sacral awareness. What if every step you took was like a drumbeat vibrating from your core? Walking can become a sacred practice if you bring your focus to the sacrum. Feel its movement with each step and walk slowly as if you're drawing invisible patterns on the earth. This simple practice can turn ordinary walking into a powerful portal of connection. 3. Listen to tribal music and let your body respond. Certain rhythms, especially shamanic drums or ancestral tunes, are designed to awaken your body's intelligence. When you listen and let your sacrum move naturally with the music, without forcing or thinking, you tune into an ancient frequency. Your body knows what to do if you just give it permission. 4. Move before key moments. Before speaking in public, having an important conversation, or making a tough decision, move your sacrum. Just 5 minutes of pelvic movement realigns your center, eases anxiety, and reconnects your instincts with your vision. It's a way to align your energy before any big step. 5. Turn it into a moving meditation. Not everyone can sit still for an hour of meditation, and not everyone needs to. But everyone has a body. If your mind won't quiet down, start by moving. Let the sacrum guide a meditation in motion. You can reach deep states without staying still. Sometimes movement is the best way into silence. Remember, your body isn't a barrier to spiritual growth. It's the oldest, purest, most honest tool you have. The sacrum is its forgotten center, and by moving it with reverence, you become a dancer between worlds. You don't need to isolate yourself or wait for a master. Your body is your teacher, your sacrum the key, and your life the temple. We've reached the end of this journey, but really, it's just the beginning. Because what you've learned isn't kept alive by ideas, but by movement, presence, and living vibration. I haven't given you another theory or just a practice to tick off. What we've shared is an act of remembering, a rescue of what was never really lost, just overlooked. The sacrum has been with you since day one. It was the first bone formed in the womb. From it, the spine grew, and from the spine, everything else. It's the base, the root, the sacred drum marking the rhythm of your being. It's no surprise many traditions called it the throne of the soul because it's where consciousness rests quietly and where it rises when it's ready to move. Remember those times you looked for answers in books, courses, gurus, complicated techniques, and still felt something was missing? Maybe what was missing wasn't more information, but the experience of becoming your body, inhabiting your temple, waking the hidden door. And that door isn't on some faraway mountain or lost temple. It's inside you. It moves with you, and it's waiting. You might have doubts. Your mind might try to explain it all away. A part of you might ask, is this really real? To that part, just say, watch, try, feel, because the truth of the body doesn't need defending. It reveals itself through direct experience. Moving the sacrum consciously doesn't just shift your energy. It changes the way you see the world. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop surviving and begin inhabiting. You stop running from yourself and start meeting yourself. And that, my friend, is the true awakening. Not a sudden flash of light, but a daily practice. Moving, feeling, falling, returning, breathing, dancing, until one day, without even realizing it, you're no longer searching for portals because you've become one. If this message has touched something inside you, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with others ready to remember, because every soul that wakes up helps awaken many more. In a sleeping world, your movement can be the spark that ignites other memories. Thank you for walking this path with me. Always remember, your body isn't just the vessel of the soul. It is the soul incarnate, and when it moves with devotion, reality itself begins to dance with you.